So today's episode, do you want to tell them what we're talking about, Rob?
We're going to talk about today our 5 best film posters. We thought at first this would be quite easy, but actually you found it quite hard.
Really hard. Hi guys, welcome to the Something Wicked podcast. It's me, your boy, the Chad, joined with Rob, as always.
Just Rob.
The Rob. And we've got a sponsor, which is mega cool, our first sponsor. It's Dan, who owns a company called The Stuff of Kings. And we'll be doing a giveaway after this podcast is released of some cool stuff. We've got it all on the table here. We'll show you a picture. This is his logo. Sorry, I really want to do that for the editor. And yeah, so we've also got a discount code. Do you want to give a discount code?
SWM15.
Yeah, so that'll give you 15% off for the viewers of this episode of the podcast.
Just to make it easier,
SWM15.
SWM1, 15. I basically made that worse than it really sounded.
It's all right. So yeah, make sure you check Dan out on Instagram. His artwork's beautiful. Hopefully we can work with him in the future to maybe do a t-shirt for us or something, which would be pretty cool. Yeah, he does really cool pins like made out of wood. They're sick. You got Freddie and then you got Jason. But yeah, his bio and everything, his URL will be in the description, so you can have a click and have a little look. Yeah, buy something just because he's a really nice guy. So yeah, thanks Dan.
Chad, do you want to go first?
Yeah, hold on. This is a different kind of. No, you go.
Well, we've got like a little screen. Oh. We've got a screen here, you see, and what we're going to do is, if you see us looking at it, we're just going to be glancing back and forth at the actual image we are talking about.
I think I'm going to go for the newest film on my list, which is obviously, I'll let you click, sorry, which is The Barn, which came out in 2016.
Yes.
Which is probably my favourite film of 2016, but some bangers did come out that year as well. Okay. Nothing that comes to mind, but I remember checking last night and I was like, oh, maybe it wasn't the best film of 2016. It was definitely my favourite though. It's schlocky goodness.
I've seen this, I've never watched the movie, but
no.
The thing is, what I like about usually when I talk to you, you mention a movie, you'll get me excited to watch it.
Thank you.
Before the movie, if you mention a film, you don't really, and you say, I like this film, sometimes it's not enough. You need to hear from somebody. And Chad's enthusiasm, as you know, will basically rev me up for it, basically. But I've seen this poster a long time ago, probably not long after it came out, and it interested me because of the top area here where, like, you know, it's like the helmet, like a miner's helmet.
They're the 3 bad guys in the film, so if I can remember, I only watched this last night, so the middle one is the miner, who was called the Boogeyman.
Right.
And then to the left, you've got Hallow Jack, which is the watcher of the cornfields.
Looks quite trick-or-treat sort of thing.
Yeah, and then to the right, you've got the Candy Corn Scarecrow.
Right.
Who was basically the guard dog of them. So basically, he tunneled up from hell, and every Halloween, they basically take a sacrifice back to hell. So he's the Boogeyman. He is basically the de facto leader of them. But yeah, this poster, I was going to pick the Graham Humphreys poster.
Has he done a version of that?
He has. I've got it signed by the whole cast.
Wow. Where'd you get that?
I got from the company that distributed the film.
Right, okay.
Which seems to be the only place you can get it from.
Right.
And it really cheap, honestly. So I got that, and it's signed properly. It's not like printed on signatures. They've signed it. They only did so many. And I got a still from the film, and the fellow who played the Boogeyman, the miner, he signed that as well.
Oh, brilliant.
So I've got that, and I think for the film, the signature, and then the poster of all, because on the whole poster, there's 2 like big hitters in the horror genre. You got Linnea Quigley from who played Trash in Return of the Living Dead. No?
No.
Have you seen The Night of the Demons?
Yes. Oh.
Yeah. She sticks the lipstick in a boom.
Yeah,
that's Linnea Quigley.
I've seen Return of the Living Dead, but it was years ago.
She's the one with the short red hair that takes her clothes off.
Right,
I can feel myself rot, is something she says.
Yeah, I get you.
And then you've got, I always butcher his last name, it's Ari Leham. He played Kid Jason in the first Friday the 13th, who pulls the main girl, what's her name?
Adriana King.
That's it, Drake, yeah. Pulls her into the lake. He plays Joe Bob Briggs.
Yeah.
Basically a him of that sort of universe.
Many times, like I say, I've looked at the again, this is how important film posters are to me. I'm sure to anyone who loves films, that they are the first thing. I mean, back in the day, in like the VHS days, that was the first thing you saw. because we didn't have the internet, so you weren't watching trailers.
Yeah.
The only way you'd see a trailer was by watching the video that you rented. So you had to hope that something was on before it to sort of like, keep your interest of what's coming soon to come back and keep renting. But so, like I say, this reminded me when I first saw it of those days because I knew nothing about it. I still don't, other than what you're telling me. But I like that because I like to sometimes be old school. I think it's good when you can look at a cover and then go, that's piqued my interest immediately. Because most films that come out on DVD these days or Blu-ray that I've never heard of, most of the time they're quite lazy. The artwork,
Yes, yeah.
It's very Photoshop, just chop and cut and paste. But this one in particular, I think is much more. It's much more. It grabs your interest.
Yes, like to me, the first thing that came to my eyes wasn't the other two killers, the Hallow Jack, or it was the miner.
Right.
Like because you see him and you see his claws coming over, and then
It's got a very graveyard shift.
Exactly. Yes. That was the exact film I was thinking of.
Okay.
Rob. Yeah. And I just love it. The film. I highly recommend the gore effects on it. So, like, they're so 80. If you're a fan of 80 slashers, you will love this film.
Yeah, I mean, the slasher genre. I mean, I can, I've dipped in and out of it in the past. I mean, I do love, I'm a big fan of The Prowler, which you mentioned on the previous podcast with Valentine's, with Jason. Big fan of that film. I only saw that recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because my friend Alan, he mentioned it to me, and I think it's been. Horror fans always mention it, and they always say the kills are really good in it. And that is what I suppose, in a big way, that's what kind of separates slasher films from each other is the kind of death scenes that are in it.
I mean, Tom Savini did the kills in that film, so that says everything.
Do you remember the scene in there's a scene in the movie? Sorry for anyone who's a bit squeamish, but there's a scene where he puts the knife into a skull and basically
his eyes roll back.
He sort of rocks it back, the knife back, which makes the eyes come out a little bit. Not fully. I don't think it came out.
No. Well, on the last episode when me and Jason talked, Jason spoke about that in really long detail because he said in the VHS days that was on the back.
Right. Okay.
So his eyes would roll back, and he said when he picked up, it freaked him out seeing
that's
it.
Something you're not seeing now. Again, what completely makes. Owning and looking at VHS so differently because they got away with more, even though they had the video nasties and things like that.
Yeah.
But they still try to push the envelope a little bit. You never see that now on the back of a cover.
No.
Because you could buy these movies now that they would have not banned as such, but they would have put on the top shelf. These films were on the lower shelves in Morrison's.
Yeah.
For £5, £3. So it's like I say, that is a cover that. Really did. It piqued my interest.
Well, I literally only watched that film because of the cover.
Right.
I seen it and I was like,
exactly, it does its job, doesn't it?
I didn't read the script. I thought, that's going to be my cup of tea. That. Yeah. And I watched it last night, and the acting's awful, but it's meant to be.
Yeah.
It's one of those films where it's like,
I mean, no one's asking anyone in a horror film most of the time, depending on who's a part of it, to be the next Orson Welles. They're just sort of they're there to do the job, do it quick, and basically do enough to be convincing. That's how I think about it. Anyway.
Definitely, I agree. What's your number 5 though?
Number 5. So we're gonna go.
I highly recommend The Barn, by the way, guys, if you're watching this. Oh.
I'm going to go for Escape from New York. Now, Escape from New York, its original image, the poster for the original release, is epic. It's got the Statue of Liberty on the side with Kurt Russell.
Of course, I didn't think that this was the original poster.
No, this was the cover for the Scream Factory Blu-ray.
Such great releases.
Yeah,
from them,
they're amazing. I mean, they are probably for me the best company to release horror films in the world. They always take the extra. I mean, Arrow Video.
I'm an Arrow boy.
Yeah, I love Arrow, but Scream Factory will always bring you it first, and then Arrow will bring it second. But sometimes it does. But Arrow will get a couple of in before then. But this artwork was done by a man called Paul Shipper. Now, Paul Shipper is a UK-based. I don't want to say it wrong, Paul, in case you're watching. But he's an illustrator. And he's done a lot of work. I first met him at a Wales Comic Con.
So you've met him?
I met him.
Oh, that's cool.
Because I say he's a local lad. I mean, he's not Welsh. He's from England. But he is. It was me and my friends were at Wales Comic Con, maybe possibly 10, 11 years ago, maybe. No, a long time ago.
How old are you?
Well, it was about 8 years, 10 years, something like that. But we were going across the stalls, and we literally were on the last one. And we'd been around a few times, and maybe because the table was full, couldn't see it. But we came to this person's table, and the first thing I saw was a Jaws poster, and I was like, what's this? What's this? It was just amazing. I loved it. I couldn't stop looking at it, thinking, yeah, it's good that. And I was looking, and then I'm thinking, hang on, what's this? I was just really, really when I get excited, I get like a bit like an old person, like, what's going on here?
With his originals and stuff.
Honestly, I was awful. I was just like, and my friend, Frenchie, he was there as well, my friend Craig, and we were all looking at, they were looking at a Batman picture that he did. He did it for the 75th anniversary of Batman.
The last one?
No, it was of the comic. But,
okay.
But it was actually a picture of the Tim Burton Batman with
Michael
Keaton. But he put in basically this little, I don't know if it was officially for the 75th anniversary, but he put a little, I can't even explain it. If you look at posters, as you'll know, you'll see hidden things that you never thought were there. But if you get in closer, you'll see little hidden messages. And there's a 75 in this poster that was on this Batman thing, which is basically like a little nod to the 75th anniversary at the time. And so I was looking at these posters and I thought, these are amazing, they're just so good. And then Paul came to speak to me. And I was just like, he introduced himself and things like that, and then found out who he was. And I was just saying, you do these and stuff. And I bought some prints off him, and I've still got them in frames at home. I'm really proud of them because Paul Shipper now has become quite a big thing. Because
Did he sign them?
Yeah, he did sign them.
Nice.
Which even makes it better.
Call that money in the bank, y'all.
Adds extra to your, like for a collector, which I'm not a collector, but it was something I cherish.
Okay.
But over the years, he's gone to do work for Scream Factory. He's done Escape from New York. He's done Army of Darkness. He did Mad Max. But this Escape from New York print, I actually think is better than the original print.
Okay.
And that's very rare.
I agree. Looking at it, I agree.
It's such a rare thing to happen where you'll see something in the modern era and look back to the original posters, which were perfect in the 80s. But on this occasion, Paul Shipper's image, his creation of the Escape from New York is, for me, better. It's the colours, it's everything about it.
Yeah. The neon.
Yeah,
it's very 80s.
Yeah,
it's neon.
Exactly. Neon. That's exactly what I would say.
Weirds.
It's perfect. I think just the way he has made that cover. But he's gone on since to. He's still. I think I'm not too sure if he still does work for Scream Factory, but he did the RoboCop Arrow cover recently.
Oh really? Oh, that's a really nice cover.
He did work for Disney. He did Last Jedi, and he did Rise of Skywalker. He's gone on to do some.
So he's a big hitter now.
He's gone on to do some great work, and he still is. And but when I first met him, like I said, this was at the. I mean, I think he was. People were aware of him in the illustration world and film posters and things like that. But I was not. So when I discovered him, I've had pictures with him a couple of times. I think every time I've met him, I think I've met him 3 times now.
Okay.
At Wales Comic Con 3 times, and I've always got a photo with him, and he is.
Does you remember you?
Yeah, we have.
That's
spoken,
nice.
Yeah, we spoke on Twitter a couple of times, and the last time I met him, I fanboyed by this time because, like I say, he's got bigger and bigger over the years. So this time I thought, this is no longer just an underground artist. This is someone who really is appreciated by the
top
film
of the
world
industry
now.
kind of thing.
This is someone like, for me, this is like the next generation's Drew Struzan.
Okay.
And Drew Struzan, do you know Drew?
Yeah.
Well, you should know him because he did the poster for the film you hate the most, Back to the Future.
Oh, that says it all then. I don't want to know him.
You do want to know him because, trust me, he's done some of the greatest artwork. To be honest with you, I'll say it's now. He's actually not. I could not choose my favourite Drew Struzan poster to go in my top 5. I couldn't do it. And
I could.
I don't know. You'll cross it out. But from an artistry point of view, like I say, I got a book recently on Drew Struzan. I was just looking through all, and I just thought, classic. There were so many great ones. I couldn't choose which one was the best. And I think the closest one that came to being in this podcast would have been Adventures in Babysitting.
The one with the climb up the side of the building.
Yeah, I mean, when you get really close up to these images, they look stunning. Like the artwork into them is just brilliant. And Paul's work in Escape from New York, and hopefully his future work, is going to be just a testament to what he's doing.
Like I was telling you before the podcast, I rewatched this film a couple of nights ago for the first time since I was about 14, 13. And when I was 13 and 14, I thought Isaac Hayes having chandeliers on his car was baller. Yeah. But now I watch and I'm a bit older. I was like, well, that's just a health hazard. Yeah. That's just dangerous having chandeliers on your car.
Well, there's no laws, is there?
Well, no, but still, you'd put crystal on the front of your car. It's weird.
It's Borgine, isn't it? It's his cab, isn't it?
Yes.
Like I say, when you mentioned that when I walked in, I was trying to remember because I haven't seen Escape from New York for so long. I've got 2 copies of it on Blu-ray, and they just look nice on my shelf at the moment because
like these here that I own.
Yeah, well, life in general gets in the way of watching things. But every single time I've gone back to Escape from New York, it's been a while. But like I say, now it's got the Paul Shipper shine on it.
Yeah,
it makes it extra special for me because I've got 2 copies, one with this cover and one with the original.
Right,
So
that's
that
cool.
way I'm not, freaking myself out with OCD or anything.
Quickly, off topic, but I'm going to go for it. Have you seen Wes Craven's People Under the Stars?
Yeah.
Does he not remind you of Roach? I think when I watched it the other night, I was like, is
Yeah, it's
that
the
Sean Whalen? Is that his name, yeah?
It's got a very gaunt look about him,
I think that's what it is, yeah. But I think he's a
sorry,
cool
Sean.
character.
Yeah, there definitely is a resemblance there.
I met Sean Whalen, lovely guy.
Really?
Yeah, I met him.
The Liverpool Horror Con?
I did, yeah. He was with Fool as well, the kid who played Fool, but he was now a grown man, Brandon. That's it, yeah.
Also a Mighty Duck.
Oh, of course he was,
of the Mighty
yeah.
Ducks.
He had a brother in it, didn't he? Wasn't there two brothers or something?
He had, he had a brother in the Mighty Ducks movie.
Yeah.
But he was also young Michael Jackson in the Bad video.
Oh, I did not know that.
Directed by Martin Scorsese as well.
Really? This is off topic. That's amazing.
That's what this is the best part about the podcast.
Yeah.
Is when you go off topic and you find gold.
No way. Again, Lee Van Cleef.
Yeah.
He was in The Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
Yeah.
For Christ's sake, what a classic.
John Carpenter's wife.
Adrian Barbeau.
Yeah.
That's how you pronounce the name,
Yeah.
isn't it? I always say the last name really wrong.
I get the first name right, and I always get the last name wrong. And Isaac Hayes, which is sort of like a
chef.
Yeah, I mean, like a bit of a Keith David of like.
Suck on my chocolate soda mold. Please don't put that in, James. Are we done with this one? Or have you got anything else you want to say?
No, like I say, I mean, it's just rare. That's why I can't stop saying how much I love the poster, because it's so rare to get a poster that I find is better than the original.
In this poster, a bit of a weird subject, but are they the towers that I think they are?
They are.
Just double checking.
Yeah. Which kind of makes it a bit more, like I say,
it's like a homage, isn't it? It is a homage.
You know what I mean?
It's
obviously,
cool.
they're in the film, so
Yeah.
the two towers, obviously, at the time were still there. I mean, the film was made 20 years prior, but like I say, when you look at, the imagery and the neon lights, it just adds that little extra.
Yeah, it's cool. I really like this. I prefer to the original, like you said.
Yeah.
And this is, well, apart from when you sent me it to confirm your choices, I think it's a lot better than the original.
Good, isn't it? So we're going to go for Chad's fourth now, which is?
I'm going to go for that one, which is A Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Yes.
Which is the best Nightmare on Elm Street, and I'll fight any man, woman, or child that says different. And it's done by Matthew Peake, who have done the original 6 films, I think, or the original 5. I just love everything about it.
Yeah,
I love that there's a guy with a mace. No one has a mace in that film.
No, but I suppose in a way that adds to the effect a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's got the little ball there.
Yeah, I love it. Because at first I thought it was the wizard kid with his wand, but if you zoom in on it, it's a morning star.
Well, if anyone watches, do you remember the VHS cover of A Nightmare on Elm Street 3?
I don't mean to make you feel old, but I never had VHS. I always had DVD.
Well, the original, to be fair, I love this cover, I do.
Great cover, yeah.
But the original cover is actually, I think it's a promo shot. It's like basically Freddy with the glove. I could have had your glove for this. I'm basically sort of doing that, and he's got like the hat on and things like that. And it's a very plain cover. It's got like a blue, but like a sky background.
Okay.
And that's the cover I've always remembered Nightmare on Elm Street for, because that was the cover I always saw in the rental shop.
Right.
But this one, yeah, I do love it as well.
I
mean,
I love everything about it. I love the claw, the knives underneath going for it. Obviously, you've got that's meant to be Kincaid, who is played by Ken Sagos, who I met. He was a lovely guy.
Okay.
He tried to hock me a signed Nightmare on Elm Street 3. What's it called, the whole script.
Right.
Yeah, but he wanted ridiculous money for
he
it.
had it on the table?
Yeah, he had the proper script signed by the whole cast.
Okay.
But ain't about that life, Rob.
How much was that?
He wanted like £500 for it.
Probably worth it, isn't it?
No.
An original script as well. Shooting script.
I don't know. No. I think he was trying to tell me it was.
Oh. He was just trying to hope for the best.
But don't bullshit a bullshitter, Rob.
No. I mean, the thing is about Nightmare on Elm Street, to be fair, don't have a go at me, it's not my favourite. My favourite's Freddy's Revenge. Second one.
Ooh, that's a.
Because that's always been because that was the first Freddy I ever saw.
You know what, mate? I'm gonna sorry to put in. I'm gonna give you that a great film, but a lot of people knock it because of the homoeroticism in the background.
Okay.
But I think it's a great film. I think Freddy in that is the most evil Freddy. I think
that was one of the. I think it was. I think now, the first. I think I'm just positive. Freddy's Revenge, because I've only seen the first 3 up until, as in, I saw them when I was younger.
Okay.
But from 4 onwards, I've only seen 4 recently. And 4, again...
Dream Child or Dream Master?
Dream Master, I believe.
Okay.
I think Dream Child was 5.
Yes.
And,
the 6, Freddy's Dad, which we don't talk about Freddy's Dad.
Not seen it. I've seen the first 4.
Okay.
But I haven't seen 5, Dream Child, Freddy's Dead, and New Nightmare. I haven't seen them.
I don't like New Nightmare.
Okay.
Tom, again, who comes to our viewings, he's a good friend of mine. He really likes New Nightmare.
I've always wanted to watch it because of its, it's so different.
Meta. It's very meta.
Well, it just changes the whole story, doesn't it? Really? It sort of brings real life into it.
Yeah.
But I like the idea. But Dream Warriors, I've always been a fan of because it's sort of like because it's a gang against.
Yeah.
It's a group of kids against. Freddy.
A gaggle.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's got a bit of it's not obviously like the Goonies, but it's got that feel about it where they, a load of people against,
Yeah, a group of friends are going to take on Freddy instead of... Yeah.
And that's what I like about it. It brings that extra little bit of, that 80s feel.
Yeah.
Obviously,
well, that's what I love
film.
about the poster. It's like, when I look at it, I was born in the middle of the 90s, but when I look at this poster, I see the 80s.
Yeah, exactly.
But the soundtrack...
The white dress as well.
The soundtrack.
Yes.
Duke and Dream Warriors, what a song that is.
It's one of the great songs.
My son sings that song, that's how much I play it in my house. But yeah, no, I adore this film. Like, this is my favourite in the franchise.
It makes me want to go back to it as well, because looking at Freddy's just like looking at us.
Lawrence Fishburne, young Lawrence Fishburne's an Audley in it, and it blows my mind.
It's amazing. Because he started off very early in his career. He did Apocalypse Now.
Yeah. Patricia Arquette is
What was the name?
She can't speak, that's all I know. When she does speak, it blows up the dream world, doesn't it? Yeah.
But no, there's like a lot of... do you remember... It's got one of the best Freddy kills in it as well. It's the...
Veins.
Is that the one... I'm thinking of the one with the needles.
Yes, well, the woman on there, I met her as well.
She was a horror con,
wasn't she? She was, and he injects because she was a heroin addict, and that's why she was in there.
I've always loved that scene.
Great scene, but my favourite kill from this one is the kid who gets the veins.
Yeah,
and he makes him walk, doesn't he?
Looks like a puppet.
Yes, because he gets a marionette, is it, as I say it?
Doesn't his face come over a clock tower?
Yes, and then he cuts the veins and he falls off the clock tower to make it look like suicide. But yeah, if you haven't watched Nightmare on Elm Street 3, just watch that one. The other ones are average.
I definitely need to see the 5, 6, and 7.
I
have watched the remake, which is god awful.
Jackie Earle Haley did well though.
He did well. I give him that. What do you think to a Kevin Bacon possibly one day?
I've always said Willem Dafoe.
Okay, yeah.
I've always thought Willem. That's how you say his name, is it? Willem Dafoe. Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, I've always thought him. I just think because his acting range is ridiculous as well. Like he can do anything.
It's got a, if you think back to the Green Goblin voice sort of thing, you can see him doing a Freddy voice perhaps. But I remember not long ago I heard Kevin Bacon was
great choice.
Because I don't know how true that is, but I thought that was quite interesting.
I liked him as the Hollow Man.
Yeah, he can play a good guy and easily a bad guy, and you still love him either way, sort of thing.
Right, what's your number 4, Rob?
Number 4, controversial choice.
Even I knew this was a controversial one.
Well, like I say, we're talking about film posters now, not the actual movies. Though this film I generally do like.
You do like,
which is Superman 4: The Quest for Peace.
He's punching a nuclear bomb. He's punching a nuclear bomb.
This movie, to me, so the reason why, this could be the reason why I do like it, because everyone mostly hates it. It's got a lot of issues. It was made by the Cannon Group, who were famous for making a lot of B-movie action films back in the 80s. They were very famous for making like the likes of Michael Dudikoff from the American Ninja movies. And they did a lot of work with Chuck Norris and lots of things. And but Superman 4 was their sort of like, entrance into the big time, because they wanted to take on big movie franchises, and Superman was clearly one of them.
Right.
And but this was the first film that I remember. So it was 1990, maybe 1989. I was in Woolworths, and basically that.
R.I.P.
Yep. And maybe one day come back. And Superman 4 video was on the shelf. It just come out that week, I think. But it was on the top shelf, so usually the top shelf usually means the best ones come out. Well, the new ones come out that week. I was 8, maybe going 7, 8 years old. So looking at, this is how well I remember it. I just remember holding it. So obviously a VHS would have been quite big at that time for me. And I was just looking at it thinking, wow, what is... I knew what Superman was. I don't know for a fact if I saw Superman already. I can't remember if I've watched Superman 2 by this time, because that's my favourite superhero film of all time.
The Christopher Reeves one?
Yeah, Superman 2 is just unbelievable.
I've never seen any of them.
The last half an hour of Superman 2, the fight scene around the city is just incredible. But Superman 4, I grabbed it and I was just like, Dad, look at this. And my dad was very kind, he bought it for me. and I held on to it for years. And because I was young, I loved it. Maybe if I watched it now and I'd never seen it before, I probably wouldn't like it.
Okay.
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it was my young innocent eyes watching this film and accepting it for what it was. I mean, it's very cheesy. It's very poor. The effects are poor. The effects are so poor because basically the Cannon Group decided to lie, I think, to the investors who were putting money into the movie to say we need more money. And instead of putting that money into Superman 4, they put it into Masters of the Universe instead.
Dolph Lundgren was in that.
Yeah, which is another Cannon film, and which caused bad effects for Superman. Now, being young at the time, anything could happen in that film, and I would have just accepted it because as a kid, you sort of do. I wasn't not the film fan I am now, so I was like, fine, that's fine.
Yeah.
But and I've watched it. I can't remember when I last watched it. Maybe 5-6 years ago or something, and I still enjoyed it. I'm going to go back to it again soon because looking at the poster now, again, this is what posters can do.
I've got two questions because
Okay.
I've never watched or really read into it.
Yeah.
Question, is that Gene Hackman?
That's Gene Hackman, Lex Luthor.
Oh, he plays Lex Luthor.
He's Lex
Okay,
Luthor.
I've never. And question two is, in the actual movie, does he punch a warhead like in the poster?
No.
Oh,
him?
Superman, I don't expect Lex Luthor to punch a warhead.
No, he sort of basically removes them. Like I said at the time, it was a bit of not a political statement, but it was sort of like trying to make a point because you had the Cold War and all that kind of thing, and nuclear weapons was a big talking point for that time. And Superman basically decides he wants to rid the world of all nuclear weapons. So he gets all these nuclear weapons and he sort of like gathers them up like in sort of like a big massive net into into this like space area and decides to catapult them into the stratosphere.
I kind of want to watch it. You are selling it to me.
And by doing that, he creates the villain in the movie.
Okay, who is?
Do you know what? I can't remember.
So it's not Lex Luthor because Lex Luthor is Superman's arch
he is the villain in. He is the villain, but he's the brains. He's not like the,
Okay.
He can't go up to Superman and meet.
He's
him.
trying to outsmart Superman.
He can't be like strength for strength sort of thing. It's
Right.
more just a case of like what's the name of the Superman 4? It's going to drive me insane. That.
Zog. He's
a guy. But it's got like Sutton. It's not Meteor Man. That's a film.
Meteor Man.
That's a different movie. It's not Meteor Man, no. Anyway, I can't remember. But he fights him. That is because of the nuclear weapons. That it causes him. His sort of enemy becomes from that.
Yeah.
And Christopher Reeve then has to take on someone who could basically match his strength, and in doing so, suffers for it. Because really, in the other Superman films, if you watch the first Superman films, like I say, you sounded shocked that Gene Hackman was in it. He's been in it from the beginning.
They just don't strike me as good films, Rob. And I don't.
The first one was an epic of its time. I mean, movies like superhero films at the time weren't really a big thing before Superman. I mean, I think a couple did come out here and there, but they weren't like given the Warner Brothers like shine. And so you had Marlon Brando in the first Superman. He played Jor-El.
Didn't Terrence Stamp play Zog?
He plays General Zod.
Zod, not Zog.
Zod,
sorry, yeah.
In the first one and the second one.
Okay, so they're the villains.
He's not in it a lot in the first one. The first one, I'd say, is more Lex Luthor. That's the main villain sort of thing. And then number 2 takes on the General Zod story.
Yeah, I did not know Gene Hackman was in any of it.
Yeah, I mean, the people behind the original Superman was like, say, director Richard Donner, Marlon Brando.
What did Richard Donner do? Sorry, his name's just...
He worked in the Goonies.
Of course he did, yeah.
And the Lethal Weapon movies and things like that. Superman 4, I know... You can tell me all you like it's a bad film. I know it is, but it holds a special place because of that nostalgia.
Being a Woolworth, your dad getting you it. That's beautiful. Don't badmouth this film or I'll cry.
Well, until you watch it.
Yeah, until you watch it, yeah.
And then you'll badmouth it.
So this is my number 3, which is that little beauty there, which is my favourite non-horror film. My top 10 films is pretty much all horror. But this one's always in it. If someone asks me my top 10 films, this will always be number 5.
So Chad's number 5. Well, sorry.
My number 3 is The Warriors, which was done by, what was his name?
Walter Hill.
Oh, yeah, well, no, the guy done the poster, so I know Walter Hill directed it.
David Jarvis.
That's it, yes. And it's just, I love it because I've got a weird thing with the game. Every console I've had, I've brought the Warriors game for it, even if I've downloaded it. Yeah. I think last time I checked, I'd completed the game 52 times.
Okay.
I'm obsessed with it. I'll play it at least once a year, till completion, 100%. And I'm just obsessed with the gangs.
Yeah.
The gangs and how they look, the Orphans, the Baseball Furies, the Turbo ACs, the Electric Eliminators, the Hi-Hats, the Panzers, just all of it about it. And you can see them all there, because in the film, not all of them are mentioned. Obviously, the Turnbull ACs, the Baseball Furies are mentioned.
They sort of focus on, say, that the first 3 rows.
Exactly,
and
yeah.
Everyone else sort of blends in towards the back.
But like you can sort of like seeing it there, like you've got the Hurricanes, and I love that. Like because I played the game, I've looked into the lore. Like you can see, like you've got the Saracens as a gang, that then you've got the Rogues, and I just love that. Like, I can look at it and like be like, oh.
That kind of the movie.
I kind of wish I made it at number 1 now. Sorry, I just really love this poster.
No, because it has, again, it's like you've got James Remar on the front. It grabs you immediately. It has that sort of, it just is like, it's hard to describe the Warriors because every single time you mention the Warriors, everyone always, the coo over it. They get really excited.
Yeah.
They straight away going, yes, the Warriors. And it still holds, fair enough. It looks, that it's got that little dated look about it, but it was made in the 70s. But it still grabs you in the same way the first time you watched it.
Like I can, I've got so much love for this film. It's unreal. The poster is just beautiful. Like I said, like every time I look at the poster, because I remember when I was younger and the Warriors video game was coming out again. Choices. Do you remember Choices, like a Blockbusters? And I remember seeing it. I said to my mum, I was like, Mum. And my mum had this thing where if I was going to play the game, I'd have to watch where it came from. So I'd have to watch the source.
Oh, right. Okay.
So if it was
you
a
could follow
film,
the story.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I said to my mum, like, listen, I really want to rent this. And in Choices, you could rent a game and a film, get some popcorn and a bottle of pop for a tenner for a week.
Perfect.
So my mum rented us the film and the game. Yeah. And I still remember now, my mum, me and my brother, we all sat down and watched it. And I've never looked back since. It's a film that you can guarantee I'll watch once a year.
It's got like the sort of like, it's got that fun, something about that movie that, like I say, because you're basically getting a trip around New York for the night. And,
to Coney Island.
To Coney Island. And there's so many different characters in it. You can take, you can choose sort of like which gang is yours kind of thing.
Yeah.
Walter Hill is, like I always put Walter Hill in the same category as the likes of, because in the 80s, directors like John Carpenter, hit after hit after hit after hit. James Cameron, also, Terminator, Aliens, The Abyss. But for me, Walter Hill doesn't really get mentioned.
Doesn't get his recognition.
No,
doesn't get his recognition.
Because, he went on to do this. He did Red Heat.
Great film.
Yeah,
that's the horny in the thing you believe she won.
It's one of the it's like Lethal Weapon, buddy cop kind of movie. But also, it's it's very Red Heat is very grimy. It's very it's sort of like it's unclean. It's very very raw sort of thing. And he had 48 Hours. He knew how to make movies in the city sort of thing.
Yes,
they would be like a character from in the film itself, the setting of wherever he was making his movie. And
so I keep looking. Sorry, I keep looking at the posters because it brings back so many good memories.
Have you seen Street of Fire?
I haven't. No.
Watch Street of Fire. That is the closest film you'll find to sort of the Warriors. It's not like in the same. It's not got the same story sort of thing. But it's got gangs basically.
Well, with the Warriors, you've obviously got the knockoff, the Wanderers. Do you remember that?
Do you know what? I love the Wanderers.
I love the Wanderers. Another film because I was really big into, like, when the Warriors video game came out. I must have been about 7, 8. So my mum shouldn't have been renting me the game, but Gail Jones, I love you. My mum does watch.
There's worse things that people do. I remember my dad showed me Predator at 6 years old.
Great film.
As long as I was with him, I could watch it. And
exactly.
I never felt shocked by it because you got your family behind you to support you.
So it's just one of those. I just love it, Rob. I can't explain how much, like, how giddy I get. It takes me back to being a kid looking at the poster.
And that's what exactly that is exactly what posters will do for you. Anyone. They literally take you from where you are now in your life, but straight away just take you back to originally when you first watched it. And that's what I think is great about looking at film posters, because sometimes a lot of film posters are better than the films.
Yes.
Which is shocking, really, because, that's the whole... Yeah, well, not to be discussed. And but I could literally, look at certain film posters and go, I'll never watch that film because I know I won't like it, or I've seen that film and I didn't like it. Yeah. But certain movies, like, say, Warriors does it all. It's a brilliant film and it's a brilliant poster. It's a great choice. I'm a big fan of it. It makes me want to watch it again now as well.
If you haven't watched The Warriors, you need to watch it. And you need to play the game. You can get the game on PlayStation Store for like £8.
Well, I promised you, didn't I? I said, COVID is all over and done with. When the theatre, hopefully, fingers crossed, reopens and we get back to the Wicked showings, Wicked Cult Cinema, Frightening Fridays, I said to Chad, I will show the Warriors.
I'm going to dress up as a baseball fury for it as well.
So it's worth doing it.
It's worth doing just to see me dressed up.
Just for that.
So that's all I really want to say about that, because I just want people to watch and look at the poster. I want them to feel how I feel.
I'd be interested to know if no one's ever seen the Warriors and you're a film fan, or you're starting up watching films for the first time because for whatever age, watch the Warriors. It's amazing.
Yeah. So what's your number 3, Rob?
I'm going to go for number 3.
Yep.
Excalibur.
I've never seen it.
Now,
I've seen you talk about this a few times online.
Yeah, my dad is a massive King Arthur historian, sort of. It's one of his big interests, kind of thing. And Excalibur has always been with me from a young age. My dad is very much interested in the Arthurian legend, and we watched it from a young age. And he's always been talking about the myths and or the truth, so to speak. And I've always been fixated on the poster. The poster was done by a man called Bob Peake, and who's an American illustrator. And it's just got the sword and sorcery look about it.
Yeah. It looks like an epic. It looks like things are about to go off, kind of thing.
Exactly. I mean, you see these kind of lines. The lines of it's like a shine. I mean, it is a shine, obviously, but it's like a reflection.
Yes.
Like a sun reflection kind of thing. And those have been used now in a lot of movies, like the Avengers Endgame had this sort of thing, like where you've got the stripe coming down, and you've got, the ice sort of like at the top here, and
I like the guy's face.
That's Merlin.
Okay. The sorcerer. Is he a bad guy in it? He looks like a bad guy.
No, he is the aide of King Arthur, basically. He's like his consigliere, and it's constantly
Did you do a mafia quote?
Yeah.
It's Excalibur.
Godfather. He's always there to sort of guide him the best he can, because he knows that the power of a king can be very, very heavy on someone's shoulders.
He was his capos on his soldiers.
Sorry?
His underbosses. Sorry, I thought we were just doing Godfather quotes.
What, the Knights of the Round Table? The Knights of the Round Table.
So, who directed Excalibur?
John Borman, who directed Deliverance.
Okay.
I can't remember if you watched it, Zardos.
Red Fong, Sean Connery.
We talked about it in the second episode, I think.
Yes, yeah.
He directed the same film. And he's still going, John Borman. He's actually got the Excalibur prop sword in his living room. He lives in Ireland. He lives in Ireland.
We could go see him.
We could go see it.
Yeah, no, I really like this poster. I think it's really cool. What year did it come out? Oh, sorry.
Believe it or not, Excalibur was filmed behind his house. Part of it.
Okay.
Part of the movie was filmed.
That's handy.
Well, a lot of it was filmed in Ireland, and they filmed a big piece of it. One of the scenes, I think it's one of the scenes where he actually pulls the sword from the stone.
Okay.
King Arthur does, Arthur at the time. And I've read a little thing about John Borman saying, he used to go home for lunch. When it was lunchtime, let's go home. But what was your question? Sorry.
I can't remember. What year did it come out? Sorry, that was it.
I think it was 1981, 1980. It was early 80s, that's all I remember.
Because I'm getting very 70 vibes from the posters. And beginning of the 80s, that's forgivable because they're getting out of that, aren't they? But yeah, no, I really like this poster. When you sent me it, I was like, I've not watched the film, but I'm down with the poster.
I mean, the thing is about posters and films, you might look at this now and think you're going to see something like it looks animation, really, doesn't it?
Yes.
That's how they sort of were. That's how posters came to look.
They
sort of added that extra little bit to it. But the thing is with Excalibur, it is it doesn't look it's grand. I mean, watching Excalibur is like going for a night at the opera.
Yeah,
it's very grand. It's very mighty. It's it's got Wagner music in it and things like that. It really is a film that a movie of the Dark Ages. Excalibur is the perfect example of that kind of film.
Yeah,
that kind of genre. And
an epic fantasy.
It is an epic fantasy. That's a perfect way to put it. And I think if anyone's not seen it,
watch it.
Yeah, I mean the story. Everyone knows the King Arthur story. Guinevere, Lancelot, affair kind of thing. But it's also about lots of other things. It's about father and son, sort of betrayal and things like that.
Are there any actors of note in it? Like who plays Arthur? Was there anyone?
King Arthur was played by a man called Nigel Terry. He's no longer with us.
Okay.
But it is the first film ever for Liam Neeson.
Cool. Who's he play?
He plays. What's his name? I can't remember. But he plays basically. He doesn't come into it till about he is seen in the film quite early on, but he doesn't really become a part of the movie with a speaking role until sort of the middle.
Okay.
I can't remember his name. But
is it a long film?
long.
Is it long? Or?
I'd say about 140 minutes.
That's not too bad.
So it's less than 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
But apparently there was, once upon a time, a 3-hour cut somewhere in the vault, which I'd love to watch. That there is Helen Mirren. Oh, is it Helen Mirren? It might be Helen Mirren. Helen Mirren plays Morgana. She is the... She's King Arthur's sister.
Okay.
But she's also a bit like Merlin. She's got basically a bit of a witch vibe about her sort of thing. You know, she has powers.
Putting axes and other such
stuff
on folk.
Yeah. And,
Sweet.
But she... actually, that might be Sherry Lee, who's Guinevere. That might be Lancelot, but it still looks like Helen Mirren from where I'm looking. But Bob Peake's imagery was
cool,
just stunning at the time, and it lives on now.
I did mean to watch it, but I just didn't get around to it.
Well, like I say, now I've talked to you about it,
I'll have to watch
you've
it.
got a bit more of a
a
bit more of a sense about it. I'll tell you who is in it, actually. He plays King Arthur's father. He is none other than a man from one of your favourite films, Ghost Ship. Gabriel Byrne.
No way.
He's in it.
Oh, God. Don't tell people I like
Ghost Ship. Ghost Ship's a great film.
Ghost Ship is a great film. That's what brought me and my wife together.
Yeah,
our love for Ghost Ship.
Saying, yeah, but I watched Ghost Ship only a few years ago. Last year.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
People hate on it, and I don't think it deserves the hate, Rob.
I think sometimes horror fans may be expecting much, but if you go into it sort of, not expecting too much, I think you get more from it.
Exactly.
But the opening scene is
great,
incredible,
right?
incredible.
Yeah.
One of those great 90s, was it 90s or was it early 2000s?
No, 2001.
2001. It's got that feel about it, Final Destination sort of thing.
Well, the guy who directed the remake of 13 Ghosts, which is also a banger.
Oh, right, okay. I've not seen 13 Ghosts.
What?
No,
Matthew Lillard and stuff, yeah, cool. So, yeah, it's a good poster.
What is...
My number 2 is
You're number 2 already?
Yeah. My number 2 is a film I would say is better than the original. Okay. But I know I'm going to get some hatred for that, but I've got a lot of love for this film.
I think a lot of people do tend to agree on this.
Okay. A Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Yeah.
What is it? The parody of Breakfast Club, would you say?
Yeah,
that a
definitely,
good way
yeah. I mean, if you think about it, like the poster is literally just when I think about this, it's sort of like an introduction to pop culture.
Yes.
Where, you'll see another film parody another film. And basically, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was made a couple of years after The Breakfast Club.
Yep. And
just re-imaged. They took the famous scene of the group, the Brat Pack together.
Yeah.
And they
I've never seen Breakfast Club. Yeah. Never seen my friend. Again, my friend Tom's always said you'll like it, kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know how to sort of describe it.
It's a bunch of kids in detention.
Yeah,
bring themselves together.
It's like watching a play to me. The Breakfast Club, because it's all set in one place, and but I think what you'll like about the Breakfast Club more so is because of the connection to that, that sort of thing.
Okay.
But it's definitely an interesting film.
My thing with this poster is that it just always makes me chuckle when I look at it. Yeah. Like, I've never seen Breakfast Club, but like I know what it's taken the parody from, and it's just Leatherface in the background, like with his chainsaw, and he's giving a fist bump.
And that's the popularity of, like I said, the pop culture of the whole thing. Because when you look at this here, when I see, because to me, like what I love about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, obviously it was the introduction of Leatherface in the first one.
Yes, yeah.
And that's what we all remember it for. But for me, the real star of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 was Chop Top.
Thank you, Bill Moseley's character Chop Top.
Yeah, he steals the show.
Which Drayton Sawyer as well in this is also perfect.
Yes, yeah.
He
played him in the first one.
He played him in the first one as well. Yeah, he was the only reoccurring character I think from it. Apart from Nubbins. Nubbins is actually the hitchhiker Ed Neal from the first one and gets hit by the truck. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And I love that they brought him back as a dead body.
Yes.
I thought that was like a really funny thing to do because Toby Hooper, rest in peace, went on to say that the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre film was meant to be like that. He wanted it to be a black comedy. Right. He wanted it to be funny, but at the time they didn't have enough money because the special effects, and this was done by Tom Savini again, so they're the tits. Yeah, and everything about it, I love the comedy, and from the poster, it's going to be funny.
Yeah. What I like about also is that, again, this is like I was saying to you about Superman 4, this was made by the Cannon Group.
Yep.
And they said, right, we want Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, let's go. And they were hoping for the first film, basically, something similar.
And they gave him this.
And when they got this, they were like, what the hell is this crap?
Because he was in a 3-film deal with them, wasn't he? He made Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Invaders from Mars, and Life Force.
Yeah.
All 3 films I highly recommend.
Well, they wanted Invaders from Mars to be their E.T.
Yes,
completely
great film, though. Great film.
Oh, yeah, I love it, yeah. You can watch that. It's on Netflix still?
No, it isn't anymore. It was. Life Force and Invaders from Mars were on there.
Yeah, 2 films you wouldn't expect to see on there.
No.
But 2 great films if you could catch them.
Great films.
When they were on. but no, like I say, this
Funny.
poster
Always makes me chuckle.
Yeah, Dennis Hopper as well. He's having the best
Double
time,
chainsaws.
He's having the time of his life.
Because he is Sally and Franklin's uncle from the first film, isn't he? That's what it is.
Yeah, he's sort of looking for revenge.
And I love how they connected it. Like he's been following him through the West, and I just love the poster.
No, it's definitely.
It's a good poster.
What's it like? I say, I love the text on the logo as well, where it says, that just looks like very 80s, basically bringing in a horror film from the. Because was there sequels? When was next? I'm trying to think now of horror sequels that basically came out in the 80s, but from films from the 70s. I mean, I know obviously there was a lot of Friday the 13th in the early 80s.
I'd say no.
But The Exorcist.
Day of the Dead came out in the 80s from Dawn, didn't it?
Perfect, yeah. But it's funny, isn't it? Because also sequels bettering the first films. Now I'm a massive fan of the original Texas Massacre. It's probably for me the most scariest film of all time.
Okay.
Because I watched it very young.
Okay, that'll do it for you.
I was terrified. it's Marilyn Burns screaming it. It's just like won't leave your mind after you watch it. I'm basically just remembering back to the atrocities that she watched in front of her.
Yeah.
And but what I like about this one is that you can have more fun with it.
Very much. You could put this on like if you brought friends on for a beer, you could watch this film with them.
Sort of like how sort of Scream goes on to be. It is a comedy slash horror.
Yeah.
Texas Massacre was also doing that as well, but with the added gore to it because this film is genuinely very gory. But no, I think it's a great film. It's a great choice.
Great, yeah. Because it was a photo, I was going to change it one eye.
That's what I like.
But you were like, listen, go, you do you kind of thing, weren't you? You pick that if that's up there. And I'm glad I did because, like I said, like even looking at it now, I'm just chuckling to myself. Yeah. It's just funny.
I'm
it's
looking
just
at it now,
funny.
thinking I want to watch it because I just love how Leatherface puts the fist up.
Yeah.
It's just like I say, it just embodies. I think it's one of those first pop culture references where, like I say, they sort of did it first.
Yeah.
Where you can sort of take something out of a serious film. Because Breakfast Club was a serious film.
Yeah.
It wasn't a comedy. It was a drama about teenage angst. And then Toby Hooper came along and did that.
I wonder how that came about, though. Do you think they were just like, be funny?
I think they just wanted to be, I think they wanted to just, be original. I mean, they just wanted to do something that was, if you think about it, if you're going to make a movie that maybe the kids of that era did not like the original, perhaps maybe you don't know, then use something from a movie that's popular then, and try and turn it. And that's what they probably did.
The tagline as well, after a decade of silence, the
buzz is back. Yeah.
It just gives you that, like, that's quite funny.
The buzz is back. That is, like I say, that again is like a tagline that, sort of grabs you. And to be fair, I don't remember many taglines from, that era, but like apart from the famous ones like Arnie, I'll be back and things like that. But, that's, the buzz is back is, they've always done really well on like, the Saw is the family.
The Saw is family. That's the
third
one, isn't it? Yeah.
So I think marketing-wise, they were spot on with this.
Yeah. What is your number 2, young man?
Number two. Now, I'm going to say...
Oh.
John Carpenter's...
I thought this was your number 1.
It was for a while.
Okay.
I'm going to say the number 1 is not this one. This is number 2. Well, not number 2. It's just not number 1. It doesn't make any sense. Big Trouble in Little China, John Carpenter.
I was going to put this on my list, but I knew you were good. I'm a fan of this film, but I know you're a fan of this film.
Massive fan.
Whereas, like, if this was on, I could be, like, doing something. Whereas, no, if this was on, you'd watch it.
Yeah. I mean, everything about it. I mean, it doesn't look like a film cover to me sometimes.
Poster's beautiful.
Exactly, it's too good.
Beautiful.
I mean, you've got so much going on here. You've got basically scenes.
What, the Pork Chop Express down there.
Exactly. And you've got like you've got the San Francisco Bridge.
Yeah, Lopan.
And you've got all these like sort of moments that are happening in the film in one poster. It's just a beautiful illustration. I'd love to get the quad poster for it because it would look beautiful on anyone's wall.
Was this the originally released poster, was it?
No, I know there was 2 posters. So this one was done by a British man called Brian Bysouth. And there was another version by Drew Struzan. Now, Drew Struzan's version is excellent, very similar, but not entirely. I mean, it's got the same logo, Big Trouble and things like that. But I've always preferred this version by Brian Bysouth. This was like the VHS release.
It's very nice.
So if you buy the Arrow and the Screen Factory edition of Big Trouble in Little China, the original cover, so you always get the a new modern day cover of the
and then it's reversible, isn't it?
And then reversible. Yeah. And the reversible cover on the Screen Factory and Arrow version is of the Drew Struzan photo. Cover. But this, to me, but they did release this Arrow video, to be fair. They did this on a steelbook.
Nice.
Which I didn't buy, which has always annoyed me, because now if you go and buy it, it's very expensive. But rightly so, because like I say, it's like sometimes it's like owning a piece of art. It doesn't matter what's inside.
Yeah.
Even though I love, the movie and the extras, and I would never buy a film just for its cover. It has to be a great film also.
Yeah.
But this, I remember going to my dad's mate's house, and he had a massive VHS collection, and I was just basically, they were talking history and things, and I was just being nosy. He said, "Yeah, have a look if you want." So I did, and I pulled it out, and I was just like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" Because this is the VHS cover of the movie, and the big box rental with a little CBS Fox strip at the bottom, and I was just, I was in the movie before I even watched it. And when I got to watch it, luckily, it ended up being a great film. It's one of my favourite films of all time.
Is your favourite Carpenter film, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
That's quite a thing.
Yeah, because the thing is, people, more.
You like that?
Well, I just said that as well. But everyone usually puts The Thing, and rightly so, as their best Carpenter film, and some people as their best film of all time, because it is a fantastic film. But it's the anti-hero that. Jack Burton is, played by Kurt Russell. He looks like the all action man, the Sylvester Stallone, Rambo, Terminator, Schwarzenegger
with a mullet.
He just looks like the ultimate action hero of the 80s. But he's everything but.
Yeah.
He makes nothing but mistakes in the whole movie, and everything around him just happens to go in line with his plan and works his way. But in his head, he's like, I did all that, and he's like, no, he didn't. But because he's got a great his co-star.
Kim Cattrall, is it?
Yeah, well, that's his love interest, but the Wang, played by Dennis Dunn.
Yeah,
he's like a very martial arts type of guy, basically.
Yeah.
He's the real hero of the movie.
Yeah,
he gets.
Is he the guy who tries to cut the glass in half at the beginning?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, well, he's the guy who gets Jack out of all his really embarrassing moments. And then he comes along and sort of finishes off the job, sort of thing. But no, every time I look at this poster,
it's beautiful.
And even now, I'm
the
looking
colour
at
palette.
I just can't stop looking at it.
The green in low pan, the subtle reds. It's lovely.
You see more in this picture every time you look at it. You spot something different,
and
that's what draws me to it the most.
Yeah,
but
great poster.
and I love, say, the low pan. Again, Lo Pan is not like a all sort of kung fu sort of bad villain sort of thing. He's sort of he's the brains. He's a sorcerer sort of thing.
Because he's got the three Furies, are they called?
Yeah.
Who are great characters.
Oh, the Thunder, Rain, and
yes, I know which one. Yeah.
Yeah, the three, I think it's the Three Thunders or something.
Yeah, something like that. Great characters anyway.
Yeah.
But no, this was nearly on my list, but obviously I knew that you were going to put it on, so I thought I'd go for something else.
It's just the little details in little areas.
Yeah, that reminds me of Scooby-Doo, that bit, though.
Yeah, fair dues, yeah.
I get very Scooby-Doo vibes off that bit.
Oh, definitely. Like I say, if you haven't seen Books from Little China, I'm sure you all have.
Oh, yeah.
But watch it.
Highly recommend.
And if you've watched it already, watch it again. So we've got this.
My number one. Yeah, my number one. My number one's a bit of an obvious one. I would say it's one that will probably be on everyone's top 5 if you're a horror fan.
Yeah.
Which is Bill Gold's The Exorcist poster, directed by William Friedkin, written by William Peter Blatty, is it?
Yeah.
I've got to confer with Rob because he remembers a lot more than me.
Apart from the villain in Superman 4.
Yeah, apparently not the Meteor Man.
Not Meteor Man. You don't burn in half of that one.
Yeah, it's just this is the only poster that I look at and I get a pit in my stomach still. Because I know what's coming. I look at it and I'm like, oh no, it's about to go off here.
What I love the most about the Exorcist poster is that basically they've taken a still from the movie.
Yep.
They've obviously enhanced it and made it a little bit different. But what I love about this poster is that it basically is a testament to how good the film is. To take a shot from a movie and put that as your poster, you don't see it that often.
No.
You might see it might be a little part of the poster somewhere along the cover, but this one shot, which is Father Merrin outside the house,
and then you got the tubular bells playing when he's there. Oh,
and it's perfect. It's just like the sort of the mist and and the lamp. It's just a
beautiful,
perfect
mate.
moment. But like I say, it's a testament to how good the film is to use a shot from a film and then put it in the movie.
Yeah, it's iconic
as the film promotional poster.
It's iconic
to this day. I mean, there's been a lot of illustrated posters of The Exorcist over the years, through different releases and whatnot. But most of the time, all film, like DVD, Blu-ray, VHS, they've always used that same cover because they know the impact.
Every time, again, like I said, every time I see it, I get like a little lump in my throat. I'm like, oh god,
yeah,
because you know what's going to happen.
It's dread, isn't it?
Because that's it. Exactly what I was trying to say. It's dread. Yeah,
I've always looked at it like sort of like it's his entrance to heaven, sort of thing.
Yes,
because even though obviously he's about to fight,
he has a heart attack, doesn't he?
Yeah. He cannot, it's like his final, it's like a final goodbye, like a path gateway to heaven, sort of thing. That's how I've always seen that picture. And the framing of the shot is just, like I say, it's just so eerie.
It's perfection.
It's eerie, and it doesn't get much better than that.
No. You know what, man? I'm quite happy to go to number one because I feel like it's that much of an iconic image that we don't really have to say too much about it. And if you haven't watched The Exorcist, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, I watched The Exorcist the same weekend as I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the first time.
Oh, really?
Because I had a maths teacher. He would get sacked for this now if he would do this now. But he knew I was a film fan. He said, "Rob, have you watched?" So he mentioned Clockwork Orange.
Good film.
The Exorcist, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I Spit on Your Grave. And he said...
He should not be recommending the last films.
Yeah, but what he did, he brought the films in for me.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
and he said, there you go. I won't say the teacher's name, but he said, there you go. Go home, tell me what you think. And I was like, okay, fine. So I watched, I think I watched I Spit on Your Grave first.
Did he warn you that it was like 4 rapes in that film? Okay, just double checking.
You know what? I can't remember. Because looking back now, that is very illegal. But he was a great guy, great teacher. And to be fair, luckily I was not a psychotic person, so I didn't take him too seriously.
Yes, yeah.
But this teacher, like I say, he opened my eyes to a different genre of film, which was horror. It technically was my first entry into horror.
What a first that's a heavy entry.
I sort of was fast forwarding and rewinding. A Spit on Your Grave.
Why were you rewinding?
Because I sort of wanted to know the moment it was there, and then go back and then not be so shocked by it.
Okay.
The scene in the bath in
I Spit on Your Grave. Yeah. I mean, you can say it if you want. The film's old. You can say what happens.
Well, it's basically when a man's penis.
She cuts a man's sausage off.
Yeah, and that's a lot of that going on in that movie, and rightly so because they were bad.
Yeah, he's a diddler.
But like I say, I watched that film, and then it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which really affected me, and then I went on to The Exorcist, and The Exorcist actually felt like a bit of a chill out compared to Texas.
Anything to chill out when you first saw the films I Spit on Your Grave.
It wasn't. I mean, I don't think it was my official one, but I think definitely it was my first one that I really wanted to pay attention to.
Oh God!
And but when I watched The Exorcist, that was I was like, because I thought Exorcist would be full on gore.
No,
but it's actually more of a drama.
Yeah.
I mean, the horror vibes are obviously there, and it's obviously Reagan is one of the greatest horror cults of all time. But the fact is, the movie is based around faith and things like that. So the movie interested me on that level. I was like, this is a lot. I got more from The Exorcist than I thought I would. I thought it would just be a quick horror film to get out of the way and done and say I've seen it. But it actually ended up being one of the great films that I watched at that point of my life.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just still a bit in shock that you watched A Spit on Your Grave. Your teacher gave you A Spit on Your Grave. I'm impressed because I wish my teacher was that.
I remember the teacher's name. I remember what it looks like, but I'm never going to say who his name was. I'm never going to say who it was. But he was a great guy. And
when you give them back, were you just sort of like, there's a lot of...
No, I think I said, cheers for that. Thank you very much. It was the 90s. No one cares.
Yeah?
No one cares.
What's your number one hour, Rob?
My number one is...
Oh, I completely forgot you picked this. Rob introduced me to this film because I put it off for years.
We showed it at the Wicked Cult Cinemas. I think it was one of the... Actually, it was Wicked Cult Cinemas' last film.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was. And it's Ridley Scott's Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
And that this is done by a man called John Alvin. And John Alvin is... great illustrator of his time. He did some great movies, and but Blade Runner has always stuck out to me. I mean, I just love everything about this cover. It's
iconic.
It is iconic. Again, like I say, I mean, Harrison Ford is just looking like just
Deckard.
Deckard, yeah, that's it, yeah. And I mean, it hasn't got Roy Batty on it, played by the late Rutger Hauer. It's got Sean Young, but it's just it's a dreamy poster for me. I remember as a kid, I used to watch a TV show called Game On. Do you remember Game On?
No.
You'd love it. It really is good.
Is that the one where they play video games?
No. Is that thinking Game Master?
Okay. No. Yes.
Game On is about 3 flatmates in London in the 90s, and there's a character called Matt Malone. He's basically a bit of he can't leave his house. He's got like a bit of a fear of leaving home, because he has like this, he just like falls apart every time he does. But he has cool film posters in his house. Like I think in one series he had Reservoir Dogs. And then another one, he had Blade Runner, which was this poster. And I remember as a kid looking at it, thinking, I was watching it, loving the TV show, but kept looking at that poster. And I knew what Blade Runner was. I never watched it though. I just kept asking my dad, saying, Dad, Blade Runner, and he goes, I don't know if you're old enough for that. And
then your teacher was like, I spit on your grave.
Yeah, that kind of took a sinister turn from there. But I remember looking at Blade Runner and thinking, wanting to know more about it but my dad, he never thought it was like he never thought it was like, I was too young for it. He was basically trying to say to me, he doesn't think I was ready mentally for it because it's a movie that, you've got to, I think you've got to understand it from a certain age, Blade Runner. I don't think it's a film you can watch as you might look at the visuals and be, mesmerised. Yeah. But the story itself is quite deep. It's about replicants and slavery, really.
I pull it off. I was talking to you before we watched it. I put this film off for a long time because I'm not big into sci-fi.
No, to be fair, I'm not drawn to sci-fi too much. I think I need to hear the word of mouth sometimes. There's many great to me. I didn't watch Star Wars till mid-90s, and by this time I was like 12, 13 years old. Yeah. I collected the figures because, that's what you did. You bought toys. But the thing is, I did not actually, have, I knew the Ewoks and things like that from the Return of the Jedi, but I never actually watched the first Star Wars or Empire Strikes Back. I knew who all the characters were there because they were everywhere. But like I say, when I got older, I just, ventured into, because, Blade Runner is film noir.
Yeah, that is.
And that is a genre of film that I sort of never experienced before. And then when I watched Blade Runner, it was just...
It's a great film.
Yeah, the soundtrack by Vangelis, it's dreamy, the synth.
Rutger Hauer in it, mate.
Yeah, the eyes, it's all about the eyes.
Bleach blonde hair and that iconic scene just where he's getting rained on, that's been in so many things. Where it's raining.
Tears and Rain.
Yeah,
it's got to be, that's probably the most, for me, one of the most iconic scenes.
I think if you look at any top 10 of like a magazine, that'll be in the top 50.
It's acting masterclass.
Yeah.
And I've got a funny feeling, was it ad-libs, that scene?
Oh, really?
I don't know, because it's quite deep, isn't it, when you think about it? But I remember reading somewhere that maybe, I'm sure Rutger Hauer had a lot to do with those lines, whether he wrote them previously and then put them in. I don't know, but they're so poetic, and luckily the movie sequel, which came out a few years ago.
I still need to watch that.
That is a great film because it has a lot to do with the first
Jared
film.
Leto's in that.
Yeah, that's
and Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling sort of takes on the Harrison Ford.
But he's in it, isn't he?
He's in it. He plays the same character, but the film is led by Ryan Gosling.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought he was the lead still.
No, he doesn't. I won't say too much about it, but he's not really in it that much.
He dies, doesn't he, Rob?
I won't say nothing. I will say nothing, but that might be streaming.
I think it is on Netflix.
But it's a long film. And to be fair, the weird thing is when Blade Runner 2049 came out, it sort of was received the same way the first Blade Runner was. Because I think everyone thought that everyone was going to love the sequel. Because I thought, everyone didn't like Blade Runner when it came out because no one was really ready for it. And then when it came out, over the years, it got a massive cult fan base. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, you got the sequel coming out. And it was received the same way. To this day, I don't think people really care much about 2049. I
didn't hear great things about it when it
I loved it. It was my film of the year. And I just, it keeps in the same tone. See, it's darker than the first one. And the dark one was dark already.
I was going to say the first one was pretty dark.
Yeah, and honestly, watch it. And
I'll have to watch it, yeah.
Watch the first one again.
Yeah, definitely watch the first one.
Get a recap. It's a bit of a longer film, but still, John Alvin's work, it's incredible. Sadly, they didn't do much of a good job on the poster for the sequel, but this one here is just...
Oh, did he do the sequel as well, did he, poster?
No. Okay. It was more like like I say, copy and paste, Photoshop kind of thing. It just didn't grab me, sort of thing. There has been a few little variant editions on Blu-ray Steelbooks that have come out that are quite cool, but nothing as strong as the original.
The OG.
The original. So, I think that's it.
That's it. Again, I just want to say a big thank you to Dan of Stuff of Kings for sponsoring this episode. Don't forget our discount code for 15% off is SWM15. It'll be here. Thank you, James. And we'll be doing a giveaway after this video goes live of all the nice things on the table here. You probably can't see, but we'll get some pictures. There, and then there. And yeah, just big thank you to everyone, really, because we just got to 110 subscribers, which is mental.
110? Is
yeah.
110? Yeah,
110 this morning. We hit another milestone. So thank you to everyone, like my wife Alex, to like friends and family, Craig and Ginge, and people. Have you got anyone to thank? I just want to thank people.
Just everybody.
Just everyone.
Especially people at Wicked Cinema, because they've, like I say, without their help behind the camera, with James, Andrew, Rhiannon, Kira, those people, without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing.
Yeah, this would just be, pardon my French, but a shit show without them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, these guys sort everything. James is editing and the pictures he makes as well.
If you got to see a director's cut of this, you would probably not watch it.
Yeah. Rob hits me sometimes.
Absolutely not. But maybe in the future.
I think that's it, isn't it?
So thank you very much for everyone's support.
Have a good time. Have a good time. I don't know why I said that.
Have a good time.
Have a good time.
That's the cause, that is. The cause have got you. They killed you.
Have a good time.